All right, so we're here with some Guilds of Ravnica Standard, and Ross, I have to tell you, Guilds of Ravnica really does feel like we're back in Ravnica. All the guilds have their own identity. They're all quite strong. I think that what we have been seeing in Standard for the last year and a half is going to completely change, and it's going to be dominated by these guilds.
I completely agree that Standard is about to change. I'm not sure if it's going to be dominated by any one of these guilds. I think it very well could be, and we're definitely going to test out some decks where we're pushing a lot of the mechanics of the guilds as far as they can go, and their themes very well. But I do think Standard is going to change more in this rotation than almost any other I can remember, because we've been so dominated by Kaladesh, and I've had a fun time not only looking at the awesome cards that we're getting from Guilds of Ravnica, but also looking at old cards that we've sort of dismissed because they didn't stand up to the power of Chain Whirler and Chandra and Glorybringer, and that might just get unlocked because the context of Standard has changed so much. So we are trying out new cards. We're focusing a lot on Guilds of Ravnica, and then I'm going to have my eye on what elements of the decks that we're playing really work, and then which elements don't work and might need some holes filled in by cards that existed previously.
No, yeah, that's a really good point, because we're really trying to push the guilds this week, and so I guess it's not even the whole week, it's just today. So we're pushing the guilds today. And so we'll kind of see where we have our holes and everything. I'm really glad that Azorius is not one of the first 5 guilds.
I think everyone is.
Yeah, I'm going to chime in here on that. I am also very thankful that Teferi does not get Hallowed Fountain in Standard just yet. 3 months from now, we're going to be in some trouble.
We've got a fun time for these 3 months. That is Todd Anderson there in the corner here joining us on Versus Live today. So he'll be doing a lot of the interaction with you in chat. So send him your questions and he'll send them over to us, and we'll talk about them. And then Todd will probably tell us why our answers are wrong.
Yeah, or just tell us why my answers are right and yours are wrong.
Always the optimist.
Yeah,
I don't know if you've worked with Todd as long as I have, but that's usually not how he operates.
Yeah, I just slam on everybody. All right, tell us about the decks you're playing today, y'all. Everyone's excited about these decks.
Yeah, I'm playing Boros. I'm going to be attacking. I'm playing just red and white creatures, being aggressive. I think that Boros may be the best guild in Guilds of Ravnica. That's my article today over on StarCityGames.com, talking about the Boros guild. And that's what I love with the best guild. And so my deck is almost completely compiled of Boros cards from Guilds of Ravnica. I have hardly any cards that are not from Guild. So I'm really looking forward to see how this deck curves out, how it works.
Yeah, there's strong cards all the way up the curve with the creatures. I especially like Aurelia. I think that card is really, really strong. Mm-hmm. It survives basically all the removal that costs less than 4, save a couple of things. And if it's on the battlefield for more than a turn or two, it does a lot of work. So Aurelia is the card that I'm really going to keep my eye on. From my side, I am playing a Golgari deck, so definitely going to be using the graveyard a lot. We've got Stitcher Supplier or other ways to put cards in the graveyard. I'm touching blue just a little bit so I can hard cast my Narcomoebas. Hopefully it won't come to that.
Yeah, hopefully don't do that.
Yeah, don't want to do that, but I can if I need to. The thing that I'm going to keep my eye out for playing the Golgari deck is I'm a little worried I don't have enough sacrifice outlets for a Stitcher Supplier. So I've got 1 Vicious Offering, 1 of the new removal spell from that is a sorcery speed and kills any creature.
Yeah.
And some Vraskas. I might need a little bit more. I'm wondering if there's tension between wanting to create this sacrifice deck and wanting to create a harder self-mill deck. And I might be caught in the middle. So I'm going to look towards either side and see if there's one side that I prefer more after we go through these games.
This is also just a great way to test out these mechanics. You know, you gotta try to see if you need to push it way harder or go way softer. So you know, that's why we're focusing around the guilds, trying out these new abilities.
Okay, there we go. All right,
real quick. Lasco the King wants to ask a quick question to Ross Marion. Okay. Are you ready to lose your bet against Jim Davis this weekend? And what is that bet?
It is a very friendly bet, and you'll be able to tell who won if you check Twitter after the tournament, since the terms are heavily dependent on a tweet that gets sent out by the loser.
Nice.
And it's just about who does better at the Open this weekend in Baltimore, and I am prepared to squash him into the ground. I hope we get paired in round 15 with the same record.
Nice.
That's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, that'd be great.
He's playing Goblins, so what kind of nonsense is that? Goblins and Legacy hasn't been good in almost a decade.
Yeah.
I mean, I know Jim's old. He remembers that time, but come on.
All right. Let's go ahead and get to the game. Let's roll dice. Let's do 7-11 game. Let's start with 7-11.
7-11 game. Okay, Todd called it. That's what we have to do. So
7 you win, 11. Or sorry, 7 you lose, 11 you win. If you get an 11, the other person gets 7. You get to go first all 3 games.
6. This could take a little while. 4. 5, 11. All right.
Okay, so I need to roll the 11 here,
or not a 7.
or not a 7.
All right,
5.
a 5.
So just a regular win for Todd. He'll be on the play here in game 1. We're going to be playing a 3-game match here.
Oh, we're doing best of 3.
Yeah, best of 3.
Okay. Well, my hand looks pretty good. I got a nice curve. Got both my colors. This is a pretty easy keep for us. Lots of new cards.
Ditto. Yeah,
Okay.
lots of new cards, both my colors, and a great curve.
All right, Hunted Witness.
That's the 1/1 when it dies, you get a lifelink soldier.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I kind of wish I had left that one on top of my deck so I could mill it over with the Stitcher Supplier.
Okay.
But here we go. We'll start the self-mill early with my own 1/1. And it's funny here because both of us want our 1/1s to die.
Yeah. Well, I would rather your 1/1 dies than mine. I'm going to pay 2 life. We got Shocklands back in Standard.
Brings you to 18.
And Swiftblade Vindicator.
That is quite the 1/1.
Yeah, go ahead. This is a card I think is going to be one of the best in the set.
Okay.
All right, Todd, real quick, tell us why you're playing this 1-mana 1/1 in your deck. You know, are there no Savannah Lion type cards you'd rather play? Is this just good because when it dies, you get another creature?
Yeah, basically whenever it dies, we get another creature. And I think it's very strong with the Mentor ability. Most of the cards in my deck have Mentor where it can pump up the smaller creatures. So it's nice having something with only 1 power when you have other cards with 2 power with Mentor that are able to give it a counter. And then whenever it becomes a real creature, whenever it gets bigger, then Ross has to spend some kind of resource to deal with it, and then I get another 1/1 that I can continue to grow after that.
Yeah. Second life creature is generally very good.
Yep, a lot of value in just having extra bodies around to get value out of Mentor triggers. So anything that makes extra bodies is nice. That Swiftblade Vindicator, though, is looking very
threatening. That was pretty scary.
Yeah. Especially if the
Mentor
3-drop
ability, for sure.
Yeah, if we get that 3-drop haste next turn, we could be in some trouble because I don't have a creature to add to the battlefield. I just have Discovery.
Okay.
So
Surveil 2.
Yeah, this is Surveil 2, draw card for 1 and a Dimir mana. And I want to get a creature in my graveyard so I can play my 3-drop here. And I kind of want to put both in just to have more fuel. But I really want to draw this card because I think it's really good. So I'm going to put this one in the graveyard, the Stitcher Supplier, leave this one on top and draw it. And then we'll figure the rest out as we go.
All right, this is a question for Todd Stevens. Reprint Fetch Lands asks, can Swiftblade see play with Chain Whirler and Plague Mare in Standard?
So Chain Whirler and Plague Mare? Yes, absolutely. Because it's going to come down earlier, especially if you're on the play, you're hopefully being able to get a hit in. But if all you need to do is grow it like at all. And then plus I have the pump spell on my deck, Integrity, and Integrity can save it from those as well. And
Integrity is the split card. The back half's like Lightning Helix, right?
Correct. Yep. Back half is Lightning Helix. The first half is just +2/+2.
Yeah, I think that card is fantastic.
All right, so we got Legion Warboss coming in, the new Goblin Rabble Master, bringing Cedric to the party. And now with having like this, the Goblins has to attack anyway. And so like Ross has a way to trade with his Stitcher Supplier. So I'm going to just be getting in with everything to get the extra damage.
Yeah, and trading with the token is definitely the best trade I can make. So let's run that off. I'm going to end up taking 3 total.
Yep, you take 3, go down to 17.
And I mill 3.
Yep.
Just want to point out, Swiftblade Vindicator, insanely good with Mentor, and Legion Warboss does not have to target the goblins. It can target any creature.
Yeah,
that's true.
No, I'm getting the beat down pretty thoroughly right now. So we did mill another creature, so that's going to be good. And well, we're getting a little punished for having this card in our deck, but I think we got to get something on the battlefield this turn. So I'm going to go to 15 from this Overgrown Tomb and play Charnel Troll.
All right, so it's a 4/4.
4/4 trample. At the beginning of my upkeep, I have to exile a creature card from my graveyard. If I do, it gets a +1/+1 counter. Otherwise, I sacrifice it, and I can pay black-green and discard a creature card to get a counter on it as well.
Quick clarification from Chris Van Meter. He says that Legion Warboss's tokens do not have to attack. Just the one that he creates comes in tapped and attacking.
Yes.
Right, yeah, just that one does. Yeah. Correct. Yeah, the
unlike
rest
Rabble
of them
Master, which forces all of them.
Yeah, so I meant that one had to attack that turn.
Real quick, because that's a card that I want to talk about quite a bit here.
Okay, so I got Aurelia coming in. So it's going to be 2/5. All right, so beginning of combat for my turn, I'm going to give the Legion Warboss +2/+0 in trample, because I'm going to want it to be able to trade with the Channel Troll. and the token comes in here. And I'm going to go ahead and get in with everything, and I'm going to have the War Boss Mentor, the Swiftblade Vindicator, so that will also be 4 power. So both of the, or like, it'll also be able to deal 4 damage. So both of these will be able to do. Oh, and this thing has Trample, or Vigilance too. I forgot I tapped it last turn, but this has Vigilance as well.
Okay.
Ross, you in trouble.
Well, you know, if I can draw, some good card, the card I need next turn, I think I can get myself out of this, depending upon what is in Todd's hand. And so I need to draw an untap land next turn. If I do, I get to answer the Aurelia, and our creature here trades for the War Boss, but not the Vindicator at this point, so I want to trade for that one now, even though that'll give Todd access to another Goblin next turn. Okay. So let's trade there, here, and I'll take 6.
4, 5, 6. Yeah.
Into 9.
Down to 9. Your turn.
I want to point out real quick, Charnel Troll looks really cool and big and good and scary as all get out, and you are just running him over right now with these cheap Boros creatures. They just look better.
Yeah. Please. Well, unfortunately here, I've drawn the 3rd copy of Ravenous Chupacabra, and I'm getting very punished for putting this one Dimir Guildgate in my deck.
We talked quite a bit about that Dimir Guildgate. Should be an island, I think, because the district guide gets it right.
Yes, district guide finds either basics or gates, and here I didn't really want to put an island in my deck.
Trying to be too cute.
But yeah, I got a little cute, and you know, when you get cute, you tend to get punished.
I'm going to make a special request.
Yeah.
I would like this to be played as an island to see if you can get out of this, because I want to see the rest of this game continue.
Okay. Well,
executive decision.
Yeah. As of now, I'm dead. We can give Todd the win, but let's see what happens if this is an island.
Chupacabras, you can come back from this if that's an island, and I think that's a very good.
Chupacabra deals with Aurelia
decision.
Pass a turn.
Lands enter the battlefield tapped are tough sometimes.
Yeah,
and I'm flooding out over here, so.
I was gonna say, if Todd had like one more big thing here, another Aurelia, a removal spell, I'm probably dead. But
do I want to attack with the War Boss as well? I think so. Yeah. So we're going to go to combat, and I'm going to go ahead and attack with the War Boss, because I want the Mentor trigger here, and I want the Hunted Witness to be a 2/2 as well, even though we're going to just trade there. Yeah, so we're going to take 2, 3, 4.
I go
down
to 5. Yeah, I agree. I like
that trade too.
And then
that attack.
I'm just playing a Boros Challenger. Your turn.
Okay. So now
it unlocks like my lightning helixes that I have in my deck a lot easier as well.
Chupacabra that one down too and pass.
Is that a drawn Narcomoeba?
Don't worry, I can cast it now. I have an island.
All right, we found another Legion War Boss. We gotta
get one of those counters like we had in the old days.
Getting more and more Cedrics.
That was a good draw. That Legion War Boss was nice.
So now if I eat a token,
you're down to 1.
I go to 1, and then I play Chupacabra, deal with this, and I can only block 2 things and die. But if I block this, I go to 2, then I kill this, I block a token and take 3.
I'll have another token.
Yeah. So Chupacabra does not get me out of it. I think I have to draw. No, my 2-mana removal spells aren't going to do it either, because they involve sacrificing a creature. I guess I could draw some way to mill my deck, self-mill, and get a bunch of Narcomoebas in play.
Yeah, if you have like a supplier that hits 2 Narcomoebas or something.
Yeah, something ridiculous like that. But I do think the best thing is still just to eat a token.
You're going to eat a token.
Go to 1.
Down to 1. Your turn.
And... you
just drew another Narcomoeba. Nice deck, Ross Merriam.
I didn't mention this one in the intro, but I did also think that maybe I got greedy even adding Narcomoeba.
Sure.
Yeah. If we're more of a surveil deck, then Narcomoeba might not be necessary, and everything probably would have gone better if my Narcomoebas were just more removal spells.
Yep.
But I'm very dead.
Okay, well, welcome back here for sideboarding, and I'm not going to change up too much with my deck. I think. Are you good to go, Ross?
Yep.
You want to? All right. You want to go first?
Okay. In my side, I'm switching up and bringing in a lot more removal, and as a result, I don't think the incidental value of Narcomoeba is going to be very important. Todd doesn't have a ton of 1 toughness creatures. I'm bringing in some fungal infections to answer them. This is a card that can really muck up my draws, as we saw a bit in game 1. I think I'd rather just have the additional removal spells early to keep the pressure off. I can stabilize my life total with these Crawl Foragers, gain some life there instead of having 5 drops that cost me life in Doom Whisper, and just take over the game once my engine is established and I'm drawing extra cards by bringing back Night Whisperer. And just gaining some 2-for-1s off of Chupacabra, things like that. So I'm going to gain some incidental value there rather than try to go over the top of the more expensive cards that are a liability in the early game. And I'm going to buy myself time by doing that with these removal spells here.
Yeah, and so I'm going to try to make Ross's removal a little worse by just bringing in some more threats. Like the History Benalias are just really good against 1-for-1 removal. So I'm going to be bringing these in over. It didn't really seem like we need our removal quite as much, so I'm cutting 2 lightning strikes, and same with pump spells, not like a ton of combat. I'm just kind of trimming on both of those. And then actually I decided that I want to try this Experimental Frenzy card out. I'm really high on this card. I think this could be just a better Outpost Siege. I'm really high on this card, and I want to try it out. So I'm going to just be bringing it in here over a couple of the 1-drops that aren't very good against something like Stitcher Supplier or Narcomoeba. So I'm going to be trying out Experimental Frenzy.
Would you say you're experimenting with it?
No, I wouldn't say that at all.
Okay.
Get out of here.
It's fine.
All right, we got some questions here from Twitch chat. I'm going to ask these real quick. Skeptic TCG asked Todd Stevens, why is History of Benalia in the sideboard as opposed to the main deck?
So basically all the cards that I have in the main deck I think are pretty strong, and I really like the mentor theme that's going on with everything. And there's just not very many other knights in the deck for History of Benalia. The other card that I kind of wanted in the deck that I couldn't really find room for was Rekindling Phoenix. It's just another strong card that I wanted in here, but I decided to go with History of Benalia in the sideboard for these kind of matchups over Phoenix. But really, just History doesn't have a whole lot of synergy with a lot of the other cards, except for really a Johnny. So
while History of Benalia is a really powerful card, I agree. Plus, we're just trying to show off the guild mechanics for this week, and History of Benalia can just steal games by itself, and that's not very fun. This is a question for Ross Merritt. Magic Wiz asks, why no Assassin's Trophy in the main deck, since it's all the buzz?
So Assassin's Trophy, while it's all the buzz, is still just sort of a basic removal spell, and these graveyard decks really need to devote a lot of cards to making their engines work, and that leaves very little space for removal. So you see, I have Ravenous Chupacabra, which is a creature that helps the Charnel Trolls and gains value. I can bring it back off of Find, things like that. Helps Bone Dragon. So having your removal on a creature is super helpful to the themes of the deck. And then Vraska, which already does other things to help out the deck, can function as removal. And then the other removal spells are both sacrifice outlets for Stitcher Supplier. So every removal spell in the deck does something else that furthers the themes of the deck, at least in the main. And then Assassin's Trophy comes in out of the sideboard when you have to go a little bit away from those themes and become more of a typical mid-range deck.
All right, one more question for Ross here. Decky1989 asks, why is Ross only running 1 Izoni? Seems like the best mill payoff.
So I do think it's a very good mill payoff, but it does cost 6 mana, and 6 is a lot.
Yeah,
so
you didn't have 6 that game.
Yeah, I have 1 Izoni in the deck, but I also have 1 copy of Find, which sort of functions as a second virtual copy. As I'm milling over my deck, sometimes the Izoni will be there, and then I can bring it back in the late game. So I view it as I have close to 2 copies, which is about the number I want it to be on. And it's just, don't have room for that many 6s. You need more stuff early in the curve. Otherwise, these Boros decks just run you over.
All right.
Sometimes they do it anyway.
Yeah.
Because they're jerks.
Play some Magic, boys.
Yeah. Well,
all right, how's your hand looking?
My hand's looking pretty good. We're not starting quite as fast as we did that game, but we do have 3 lands and a good mix of stuff, and this card should help out a lot.
Same. Yeah, we don't have the 1-drop, but we still have a decent couple other turns after that.
So I'll start on a tapped Overgrown Tomb. Got
plenty of lands to draw into stuff as well.
Zydroth says, I'm missing a tie here. Nearly didn't recognize Todd Stevens.
Yeah, I've probably seen Todd outside of a tie more than anyone other than his mother, and
that's not true. But Discovery, yeah,
you got a Discovery.
You have seen me without a tie quite a bit.
It's not as big of a deal for me, but okay. So I definitely wanted to make sure I hit my 4th land, but I can do so with this card as opposed to this one. That said, that's going to cost my entire next turn, so I think I'd rather just keep the land and put the District Guide in the graveyard.
Okay. All right, we're hoping not to draw any more lands the rest of the game. Go ahead. We just drew a spell, so that's good. Spells are good.
Every time you cast Swiftblade Vindicator, I'm just like, oh, this could be bad. That card's so powerful looking.
Yeah.
Obviously, on the draw against a Goblin Chainwhirler, it might be pretty gross, but...
Right, but I don't think there's going to be that many Chain Whirlers around in Standard. Like, there's just not like the density of mono of red cards right now.
Okay. And I'll play a tap land.
I could see like Plague Mare being a popular thing. All right. Tajik. Haste. Mentor. Oh, this thing has Vigilance.
Yep.
And so it's 3/2.
Man.
Let's chump the 3. This trumps.
This is trample.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Jerry Thompson says Tajik is his pick for best card in the set, and I am inclined to agree because that card looks sick.
Yeah, it does look very good, but I don't think it's better than Vindicator or Aurelia.
So I'm going to take 4 here and mill another 3. So,
so
unfortunately, I've warded out the guide since that's more of a late game card, or the find. I mean, not guide. So I can't bring back that Azoni, which is something I would like to do, but. Yeah,
it's possible you want some sort of like Gravedigger type effect or reanimate effect. I believe one of the split cards has a reanimate on the backside. Am I mistaken on that?
Yes, one of the Dimir ones.
Well, you are playing a Dimir Guildgate, Ross.
Okay, so I am just gonna get this nonsense out of the way and Ritual of Sit both those. Pass the turn.
Ross, tell us what this card is and why it's in your deck.
This is destroy all creatures with a converted mana cost 3 or less. I think just
very, very powerful sweeper.
Very powerful against.
So I wanted to play the Tajik first over the Legion Warboss. Go ahead, because because the Warboss can take over, and I kind of figured Ross needed some kind of sweeper effect to catch up there.
The Goblin brings me down to 15, and that's interesting. Let's use our mana effectively and just Chupacabra down the Warboss. The 2/2 will check the token and pass the turn.
Ooh, that's going to be nice. All right, well, I'm going to get another Warboss in here, so we'll just send them both in. Since one has to attack, might as well attack with the other. Get 1 point of damage in to put you to 14, and play another Vindicator, and pass the turn.
All right, this is a question for you, Todd Stevens.
Yeah.
King Despair asks, why no Path of Metal? And did you consider it when building your deck?
I did consider Path of Metal, but I just kind of wanted to just have a lot of creatures to be able to keep curving out and be able to have threats like that. Path of Metal also gets rid of my 1-drops, and like it deals like the 1 damage to the 1-drops, which I didn't really want that to happen either. What do you got?
I have a Charnel Troll.
Charnel Troll.
Pass the turn. So the Troll here is a 4/4, but with its ability to black-green, discard a creature, get a counter on it, it can threaten to be a 5/5, which then cleanly blocks the Swiftblade Vindicator, even if it gets a Mentor counter here.
All right, so combat from my side. If I attack with the Warboss to be able to put the counter on the Vindicator, to be able to have the Vindicator trade for the Troll, then the Troll can just eat the Warboss. So that's pretty bad. So I don't think I really have a good attack with these. I do have to swing in with this Cedric, so I will go ahead and do that.
I'm going to block with Chupacabra.
Okay.
Just if there's some sort of weird trick.
Second main, I'm going to play a Boros Challenger, so I can have some more Mentor next turn, and then I'm going to play Experimental Frenzy.
All right, we have another question here.
No.
You can look at it. You don't have to reveal it.
Oh, I don't reveal it. I just look at it. Sorry. But
yeah, these new cards. Yeah, we have a question real quick from TL Jones 78. He asks, Boros will run Chain Whirler, true or false?
Probably false. I mean, it's possible. If you're going to be playing Chain Whirler, you're definitely not playing anything like History Benalia. You'd have to go very red heavy.
Right. Your mana base has to be able to support it for sure.
Yeah, and right now we're looking at 8 duels besides the Guild Gates, and so you'd have to start playing Guild Gates if you want. Rabble Master.
Yeah, I'm not sure if mono red splashing white has the chops, and that's basically what you would have to do deck building wise.
So I guess Ross is thinking about
what to do with the Charnel Troll here. If I want to put a counter on it and use my mana effectively, and I think I do because I can buy this back. I'm going to discard Blood Operative.
Okay.
Get a counter on this because I definitely want to have it be a 5/5 in the face of.
Well then upkeep, don't you? Wait.
Yeah, upkeep. I have to exile a creature in my graveyard.
Yeah, and then it puts another counter on it. So now it's 6/6.
Yeah, even better.
Okay.
Nice.
I also just want to buy this back, and okay. Because my plan here is eventually to turn the corner with these trolls, so they need to get very big. And by trolls, I mean trolls, because I have a second one here. And
these trolls are pretty scary. Maybe I should be bringing in the destroy all creatures with toughness 4 or greater card. I should have that in here.
And I will pass the turn.
All right, so I'm going to draw my card. I can't play the card in my hand. I can look at the top card of my library. Might as well play it. Look at the top card of my library. Yeah, might as well play it. History Benalia. Get a knight.
That's pretty good.
Dude,
Look
I
at the
gotta
top
say,
card.
Criminal Frenzy looks great.
Might as well play it. Let's see, look at the top card.
I was skeptical. I thought that card would be, you would need to play a lot more mana sources, but it looks good here.
Let's see. We're probably going to be playing this too. Let's wait to see. Okay, so that's going to... Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's going to change our blocks a little bit. I guess I should have tapped that a little better, but we got saved by the Clifftop Retreat. All right, so we're going to be doing some attacking, right? You're at 14?
I am at 14.
What kind of attacking can we do? Unfortunately, these two cannot mentor each other because they're going to be the same power, but we can like mentor 2 of these. So if we do that with another goblin token, what kind of blocking are you going to do? You can like eat this, eat this, eat the one that's not, and you're taking
3.
Taking 3,
4, maybe.
Or yeah, before.
Yeah, 4.
Yeah, before. And then
I would accept those terms.
That's probably not the best. I guess I'm gonna have to wait one other turn whenever I have these available, because the goblin banneret here gets to
yeah,
I can pump it to be able to put a mentor counter on one of these other cards. So I think we're gonna wait another turn. How many creatures do you have in your graveyard, like for these things?
I have 1, 2, 3, 4 right now.
4? Okay. So it's not a ton for those trolls. That's like 2 turns basically, and you'll have to start sacking them. All right, I will attack because I'll go to combat. The Legion War Boss has something that has to attack. All right, and you block with the troops.
Sure. Block with anything. Todd can't cast spells.
Yeah, I can cast spells.
I can see off the top of your deck.
Yeah, I can cast spells.
Yeah, you can cast spells off the top. You just can't cast anything that's in your hand.
Correct.
So once you're empty-handed, it's one of the best cards you could possibly play.
Yep. Go ahead. And yeah, and you can play, and like as you saw earlier, you can just play spells, or you can play cards, so you can play lands as well.
Right.
Okay. Upkeep. Well, let's remove these suppliers, get counters on both my trolls, and draw a card.
Wujo says, but once you see 2 lands in a row, you will notice downside. And to that I say...
So the good part about that is whenever you see your second land in a row, you won't be able to play it, but then you're just going to be drawing a land for your next turn, and then you can continue to play stuff until you basically get to play stuff until you find 2 lands or run out of mana every single turn.
Right. And I mean, that's better. If you were just drawing that land, that would just be as bad.
Yeah, that'd be much worse if you're just drawing 1 land a turn. So yeah, that's what this is a card that I talked about in my article today that I'm really high on.
Wodioi MTG says, Lyra would be sweet right now. You have Lyra in your sideboard, correct?
Yeah, I do have Lyra in my sideboard. I was scared that with cards like Chupacabra and like hard removal from black, I didn't really want it in this matchup. Okay. But yeah, in this scenario, unless if Ross doesn't have an answer.
So exile the Tajik.
So that thing exiles something.
Yeah. Might as well play this tapped over Entomb and pass the turn.
All right, Ross, tell us about Blood Operative. Why is this card in your deck?
So this is a card that I'm pretty high on because it's both a creature that you can play early and attack against control decks, block against aggressive decks. The lifelink is really important, especially if you have Doom Whisperer in your deck. But then it's also a card that functions very well if you mill it over. You can rebuy it and
so yeah, it only comes back with Surveil, right?
Yeah. So we have Doom Whisperer and the Preordain.
All right, so I'm going to be casting this Lightning Strike from the top of my library. Because I don't want to draw, so I'm going to be casting it. So my real things I can be doing is taking out Chupacabra or Blood Operative. With this lifelink and everything, I think I'm just going to take out Blood Operative. So hope that you don't have a Surveil to bring him back.
Good.
Okay. I'll go to Upkeep. Let's look at this card. Okay. Well, we'll draw this. Can't do anything, so we'll draw that. Look at the top card.
Make a knight.
Oh yeah, make the knight. Good call. Good call. So many things. Okay, that does that.
Definitely a good call there to look on upkeep, because if Todd had another lightning strike there or a pump spell, you can cast that on the upkeep and not draw it and be unable to cast it.
Right. Okay. This is a card that I would like to have during combat, because it's a trick, but I want to also, I guess I don't need to see if there's other things.
Everyone on Twitch chat just turned their head to the left. As Todd Stevens also turns it sideways to read it all the way.
Yeah, we'll help in Twitch chat. Like I know this
format of Lightning Helix are +2/+2 for 1 mana, Todd.
Yeah. And the other thing is I don't want to cast it before Mentor triggers. All right, so now do we have good attacks? So you have a 7 and a 5. Blech. Those are big. So we can get Vindicator. We can make this a 2/2 with a Mentor. I guess we can make it a 3/3. Yeah, we can make this a 3/3, and then with this, because we can Mentor with one of these, and we can pump this and Mentor it again. So we can Mentor this twice, make it a 3/3, and then with Integrity, it could be a 5/5. So that's pretty big. That trade with the Troll. Those things don't regenerate or anything, right?
Nope. They do not. They are just big boys.
And you're looking at 3 creatures in your graveyard. Yeah, I think this is a pretty good attack. So before combat, you have to pump this up before combat to be able to Mentor. So before combat, I'm going to pump this. I'm going to go into combat and attack, or well, go into combat. This thing makes another goblin. Yikes. So much stuff. Attack. That thing has vigilance. Attack with this. Mentor triggers. Could pump it 3. Actually, okay, no, that only pumps up 1. Yeah, so I can't do this 3 times. Okay.
You have 3 total, but you can't pump something with the same power. So you can put 2 counters on the Vindicator and then 1 counter.
All right, so Challenger will target Vindicator, War Boss will target Goblin, and then Bayonet will target that, which will resolve last. Like, that's how I would like them to resolve. All good?
Yeah.
All right, so this is going to get 2. This is going to get 1. There we go.
Okay. You have me at 14.
I've got 14.
Something interesting about Blood Operative that Fire Shoes pointed out, it can return itself when you surveil it. So you can gain some card advantage off of surveil with the preordained card. It's pretty cool.
So it's a pretty difficult combat for Ross. He's going to be able to eat a creature or 2.
Yeah, but if he doesn't block Vindicator, he might just die.
But I have, he of course knows, because I were talking about like the Integrity, so he of course knows about that. But I also do have like just on board, I have like some cards that can pump up as well.
Mm-hmm.
So if Integrity goes here, this would be 13 damage. My Chupacabra would be down. These two.
No, Integrity goes here. That's 10. So that's 10.
Oh, this is Integrity. That'd be 15.
11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Yeah.
I missed the night because it was all the way over here.
Yeah.
One important thing to note is that...
Yeah, that'll be lethal if you block like that.
In a spot like this, there's a chance that Assassin's Trophy is up for Ross, and you have, with Pump Spell on top of Todd's deck that he can cast from the Experimental Frenzy, he might want to try to play around a 2-mana removal spell here. But if he can go for the kill, it might just be worthwhile.
This is 7... So my goal here generally is to get more Mentor creatures off of the battlefield to contain Todd's side, and then to also protect my life total. And I think this block does that the best. Also getting the War Boss out so no more goblins come around. So,
all right, so that's your blocks?
Yep.
All right, so right now we're looking at taking 7. So the most we can do, or let's see, this is 3 and that's 7. So yeah, I need to do something for so I think I have to cast this on the Vindicator. So we'll go ahead and cast that with Plains.
Yep.
On the Vindicator. All right, let me look at the next card. Okay. Now do we want to do anything? So we can do something else with our mana here to pump this. So right now, so that's 10 coming through. So 3 tramples over with 7 toughness. So we're looking at 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I don't think the 1 extra point of the 4 mana is worth it, where we may have more things to cast after this. So we'll just go ahead and go to damage.
So I'm taking 10.
Yep, you're going to take 10. You're down to 4.
4.
I have 3 creatures dying.
And I have 2 creatures dying.
Okay. And this is back. All right. And then second main, I have not played a land yet, so we'll go ahead and play the land. We'll see that we have this card. So this is I guess why I kind of wanted to play that pump spell pre-combat, but I think it'd be better to play it post-combat. So we'll play Tajik, look at our next card. We are not going to be doing anything with that. That can stay there. All right, go ahead.
Okay, we'll exile a creature, get a counter on our Charnel Troll.
Yep.
Draw a card.
So Ross really needs to surveil. If he surveils and gets a couple lifelinkers, he can maybe stabilize.
I have to pay 3 life to bring those back, Todd.
Oh, you do? They don't just come back?
Nope.
No, they do not.
Well, that's unfortunate.
Agreed.
Log Trap says, okay, Frenzy was silly. It only gave Todd Stevens 6 cards this game or so.
Oh, yeah. Even more than that. I think I played 4 cards the first turn, 4 or 5, and then I played like 3 or 4.
And 2 spells, I think I
played 3 spells. Yeah,
I
played the 1-drop, the Helix, or the History, the 1-drop.
And all it did was get a History Benalia and a
and then I just drew my second land.
Yeah.
And
I had a chance at surviving this turn, but the History trigger is going to get me. And then just have 1 draw to my second ritual. Still be in really bad shape because Todd would still have Experimental Frenzy, but...
Yeah, this card's nuts.
So I've had this Severed Strands for a long time, and when I initially built this deck, I had 2 copies of Vicious Offering. And then when this card was printed, I was like, oh, I'll try Split. That'll be fine. But I was always wary of this one being a sorcery. It's so much better to have removal spells that when you sacrifice them as a cost, sacrifice a creature, be at instant speed, so you can use it in response to a removal spell, and also just do things mid-combat. And this would have been so much better as Vicious Offering, which doesn't actually even need a sacrifice. So even more versatility there. Block. The life here is relevant, so I can get in for 6, and then deal with the... I guess if I dealt with a Knight, but this represents 4 damage anyway, because it's 3 haste or 3 and a Mentor, so they both represent 4. So I would just deal with this, go to 10, and then I have a blocker. This stops 4 damage, but this is 9, and the Challenger can just pump itself.
Oh, can you hit like a bunch of Narcomoebas?
No, I boarded those out.
Oh, well, that's tilt. That's a tilt.
Nice deck, Ross.
Yeah, so there's just no way for me to survive here.
Okay.
So even if I kill this and gain 6, go to 10 and play a blocker, I take 10.
I was not going to Frenzy very well, so I was going to draw another Frenzy, play a land off Frenzy, and have another land. So it's still like basically getting 2 cards off the top of my deck, and that's like the worst case scenario.
I don't know if this game changes at all, if this is something other than if this is Vicious Offering. I don't think I would have fallen behind as much, but the Frenzy was...
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, this card's nice.
That was
just playing tons of cards.
All right, let's do a breakdown of these 2 decks, because I really want to know Ross's thoughts on his deck and things that could change to make it better. But I also want to talk a lot about this Boros deck because of how good it looked. Let's start with the person who got pummeled.
Is that me?
Yes.
I've already forgotten what happened.
Yeah,
so it's out of my memory.
Is there somebody else that got pummeled?
So not a good showing for the Golgari deck here. Wasn't really able to get a lot of synergies going. I just sort of milled cards, like played a big creature, and Todd was able to go super wide around me, and I was never able to gain a lot of traction. I think the deck just needs more cheap removal and probably needs more time to set up.
Do you think that should be Assassin's Trophy, or do you think it should be more sacrifice-oriented removal?
You get some dead weights. You can dead weight your own stuff.
I like Vicious Offering more than I would like dead weight, because being able to sacrifice Stitcher Supplier is nice. I'm not sure if that's enough to want it over Trophy. Trophy is not a great removal spell on turn 2.
Right. Ramping your opponent's pretty rough and
so
standard.
if I'm putting in a removal spell to be good against early aggression, then Assassin's Trophy isn't one that's particularly attractive. But honestly, when you get pummeled like this, so as thoroughly and as decks as badly as I did, it's kind of hard to come up with exactly what is wrong because everything feels wrong.
Right. I mean, it's possible that these Golgari decks just need more time to set up, and if the Boros Aggro decks or just aggro decks in general are putting too much pressure on you, it's possible that those are just going to be the bad matchups. But maybe that means main deck more sweeper effects. The 4-mana Wrath you played looked really good.
Yes. And if I had drawn the second copy of it, it would have also looked really good. So that card definitely seemed like something that you can use to come back from behind, especially with the Golgari deck and things like Charnel Troll giving you big creatures. The response from the aggro decks is going to be to go wide, and then Ritual Sit is really good against them, even if you end up losing your Troll.
It's possible that instead of, does it destroy power based on power or casting costs?
CMC 3 or
right,
less.
So, but it does destroy your own Charnel Troll, right?
Yes.
So you might want to maybe look at things that do -X since you want to keep your creatures around.
Yeah, if there are those in the format, I don't think there are.
There might be one. There's always one or two somewhere.
There usually are.
There's a split card for 6 mana that's -4/-4, but that costs 6.
Yeah,
which
I boarded out the one copy of.
Yeah,
Finality.
You boarded that out?
Yeah. I'm mainly playing it for the find half, and I didn't think I could have time to sort of set that up. But
the finality would have been good there at the end. But
the takeaway here is
said Golden Demise is still legal.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Golden Demise is pretty good.
Yeah, that's a good one. All right.
All right, let's talk about
over on my side, the deck looked really good, and it was basically just like how I was drawing it up in my article from today. I think these mentor cards are really good, and like the 2-drop Swiftblade Vindicator, I think is pretty underrated right now. I think that's going to be an integral part of Standard of just. Like, not only is it going to be good, but it's going to really force decks to have answers for it. So I think it's going to kind of shape Standard a little bit because it's so aggressive and powerful. We saw there that last game, it was just a 1/1 until whenever I attacked that last turn, it was suddenly a 5/5 double strike trample. It's like 10. You had a 7/7, and you still took 3 damage after the trade.
Yeah, a single counter makes this card a huge threat.
Yeah,
only dealing 4 damage as a 2-drop is an excellent rate, and your cards were they were basically all impressive.
Right. And I love the integrity with it. I love the pump spell with it. I think integrity just works really well with that card to be able to save it from stuff like Goblin Chain Whirler or just just mess up combat. Like a 3/3 double strike trample, that's ridiculous. And that's just one pump spell. So definitely really liking the Boros deck there.
The Be Easy asked, what does Todd Stevens think about Militia Bugler in the Boros deck? We didn't actually get to see it.
Yeah, I think Bugler may be a little slow. I don't think it's really what the deck wants to do. I think it wants to be a lot more aggressive and everything. It finds most everything besides Tajik from the deck, so like I understand, but I just don't think you really want to be doing that. I think when you do want to grind, you'd rather have cards like History Benalia, Experimental Frenzy that we saw there that was awesome, maybe Rekindle Phoenix, stuff like that. Johnny. I don't think you need Bugler.
I disagree. I like Bugler. I think the body is particularly good when you're mentoring onto it, and they're both Tajik and the 1-drop Goblin are easy to mentor a counter on it.
Right.
3/4 Vigilance is really excellent in creature matchups, and the fact that it finds Aurelia to help you curve into that card on turn 4 is the kicker that puts it over the top. I think what we saw here, both of us were trying to build our decks around the guild and push what our guild does. And when that happens and we're not interacting as much, the Boros guild looked a lot more powerful than the Golgari guild. So what's going to happen is
more interaction.
Golgari is forced to become more of a traditional mid-range deck with some of its own elements because pound for pound, it's not quite as powerful as the Boros deck. At least that's what we saw. But once they decks react and have a lot more cheap removal to keep you off your stuff, cards like Militia Bugler are then how you react to keep the gas flowing in a way that is both seamless within the curve of your deck and still quite powerful.
All right, the second Aki asks, why no Adonto Vanguard? It seems like it would go really well with all the
with the mentor and everything. Yeah,
actually, no, it doesn't because it's not a triggered effect, right? It's just when it's attacking, it's a 3-power creature, so you actually can't even mentor.
Oh,
right?
it doesn't. Yeah,
you need a 4-power creature to mentor onto it.
Yeah, so that just doesn't even work.
I answered my own question.
There we go. there we go.
Todd doesn't even need us here.
All right, so our next video that we're going to have up next is going to be Dimir versus Selesnya. I'm going to be playing the one that everybody expects me to play.
What?
Right?
Dimir?
Dimir, yeah.
Dimir,
yeah. So I'll be playing the Dimir side. Ross will be playing the Selesnya side.
Everyone wants to see you play green-white. Just flip the deck. No, I'm flipping the deck. So there's no way you're not playing the green-white deck.
I'll play the Dimir deck. That'll be fun. So that's going to be the next battle here on Guild Wars. So we're going to take a quick 10-minute break, get that all set up, and we'll see y'all here back on Versus Live.